Star Wars The Old Republic is a tab-target MMORPG that, while despite having a rocky start, managed to persevere and still remain in the top MMORPG games to play every year. Star Wars The Old Republic came out in December 2011, and I remember it being pretty popular back then. But there was also the anti-subscription movement happening around that time, which made the game suffer a fair bit and eventually dropping their subscription for the free-to-play option, though not entirely. The subscription was still there and the free version was pretty limited, but the free version was available as a taster to what the game had to offer, and you could choose to subscribe if you really enjoyed the game, which, to be honest, you would want to because the amount of limitations were pretty big for free players. These included, but were not limited to, experience cuts for mission completions, not being able to equip epic items earned from dungeons, having access to the mount system a lot later than the subscription players, not being able to hide your helmet, and the one that always annoyed me the most was the fact that your storage on the ship was locked to subscription only. Basically, if you wanted the best quality of life experience in Star Wars The Old Republic, you would want to subscribe. What is up, my dwellers of the interwebs? I'm Sorasyn, and welcome to my channel. If you're enjoying the video, a sub to the channel would be amazing. Things have changed a bit since those times. The biggest change is that now Star Wars The Old Republic has included the first two expansions into their free-to-play version of the game, which I think is very kind of EA to do, but the other restriction seems to still be in place even after coming back to this game after many years. The other huge incentive to subscribing to the game is the fact that once you sub just once, you unlock all expansions that are currently available and will gain access to all future expansions as well. So for the cost of a month's subscription, you gain all future content as well as old content too. And if you now run out of your subscription, the biggest change from before is that now you can keep all expansions that you have unlocked instead of them being locked from playing again. I personally really like this change and is the main reason why I decided to drop 60 days of playtime into the game. Star Wars The Old Republic also had some huge revamps in the game since the game released. They recently did a big overhaul on the UI as well as the character creator and how the classes are picked and played. I can't dive too far into that feature since I'm only level 40 on my Sith Warrior Marauder, but from what I've experienced, the new character creator is pretty nice and I don't hate the new UI since I can't really remember the old one so well, but judging from what I've read from veteran players, they're not too happy with the changes from what I can tell. The character creator has been revamped and looks a lot cleaner than it used to. You first have to choose between the Galactic Republic or the Sith Empire factions. The Sith Empire has 4 origin story classes, which are the Sith Warrior, Sith Inquisitor, Bounty Hunter, and the Imperial Agent. Each of these origin story classes have several subclasses you can choose from. The Sith Warrior and Sith Inquisitor have 4 subclasses to choose from. These are the Marauder, Juggernaut, Assassin, and the Sorcerer. And the Bounty Hunter and Imperial Agent have 8 subclasses to choose from, which are the Mercenary, Power Tech, Sniper, Operative, Gunslinger, Scoundrel, Commando, and the Vanguard. The Galactic Republic have a similar setup, with the 4 origin story classes being the Jedi Knight, Jedi Consular, Smuggler, and the Trooper. The Jedi Knight and the Jedi Consular have 4 subclasses to choose from, which are the Guardian, Sentinel, Sage, and Shadow, while the Smuggler and Trooper have the Gunslinger, Scoundrel, Mercenary, Power Tech, Sniper, Operative, Commando, and the Vanguard. As you can see, there are a lot of classes to choose from, so there's plenty of chances to make alt characters for those who love making many characters to play. Only the origin classes have specialized stories to play through. The subclasses is more for gameplay value only. The graphics are still the same as I remember them, which isn't a bad thing. The artistic style of the game is cartoony, but it ages well and doesn't look dated like some MMORPG games that try to go for a more realistic tone. Giving Star Wars The Old Republic this type of art style creates a timeless visual experience that can be enjoyed no matter when you pick it up. Though I did experience some clipping with certain armor and some camera angles got pretty weird during certain cinematics. Speaking of cinematics, if you don't know much about Star Wars The Old Republic, then you don't know that in the 2012 Guinness World Records, the game was officially recognized as the largest entertainment voiceover project ever, with over 200,000 lines of dialogue recorded. That is an amazing feat if you ask me, and it really does help sell the many different storylines in the game. The story in this game is absolutely amazing and engaging, and the fact that you can choose your options for replies really does help create your own custom main storyline. And just like with other Star Wars games, you can choose light or dark side options regardless of the faction you choose. So you can make a Sith who finds the light side or goes full dark side, and the same for the Republic side. You could have a Jedi who goes full dark side or embraces the light. I'm actually quite curious about making a Jedi Knight who falls to the dark side for an old class once I complete my Empire faction classes. Star Wars The Old Republic has so much to do in the game, so much in fact that it can feel very overwhelming, and I feel like it can be pretty easy to get lost in what you're doing. But if you just follow the purple quests, you should be fine, and there are plenty of videos on how to progress after you complete the origin story arcs as well. At this stage in the game's lifespan, I feel like you don't really need to go out of your way to do all the side missions or dailies because you get a lot of experience from just the main storylines, especially if you're a subscriber. Combine that with the dungeons you can queue for, and you will be over leveling the planets you are on very easily. Thankfully, the game has a level scaling feature, so you do manage to over level your planet's level requirements. That is no problem. Your character's level will drop down to match the planet so that you're not too overpowered for the region. The scaling also works in dungeons as well, and you are able to do all dungeons from the looks of things, because I've been in some dungeons where I got level scaled to level 70. This is an interesting feature, and I love how the loot is available to equip regardless of your real level outside of the dungeons. But keep in mind that if you're a subscriber, if you run out of game time, you cannot remove your epic armor because you will not be able to re-equip it afterwards. As I mentioned, there are dungeons and there is a dungeon finder. So far, when using the dungeon finder, I have never had to wait long for a dungeon run. Sure, a majority of my runs are all DPS, but the most part, each class has some form of healing when out of combat, so the dungeons I have done can be completed without tanks or healers. I'm sure that will not be the case as I get higher in the dungeon content, but for now I've had no need for them and the queues have been very fast. I love how you get your own ship to travel around the various planets you unlock, and I believe you can also do spaceship quests as well, but I haven't got around to those yet because I've just been so focused on leveling my character through their main storyline at the moment. Not only do you have a personalized main story to enjoy, but you also get a whole bunch of followers you can gain along the way. These can also be romanced, but sadly there is no same gender romance in this game. So if you want to romance certain female or male followers, you will need to have a character of their opposite gender, and you can't gender swap in the game either, since the gender of your character is tied into the main story and follower story, so it could get pretty complicated. So sadly, if you want to experience the romance, you'd have to make a new character if you can't romance them on your main, like I'm experiencing right now. I won't be remaking though because I've already invested a fair amount into my Sith warrior. Your followers also have their own story as well, and the further you progress in the game, the more you unlock their relationship content with you. Eventually, you can unlock follower quests to help them on a mission, and this will help to boost your friendship or relationship with them. I just did Vet's follower story, and it was pretty nice to help her out. Star Wars The Old Republic is still pumping out expansions, and they just released their newest expansion, Legacy of the Sith, just recently. Though I've heard it isn't the best and the main story for it is very short, even still I'm very excited to get into the expansion content, and I've only just reached content that I haven't experienced before. So I'm now getting into content that is new for me, and it's all getting very exciting. Overall, I'd say that Star Wars The Old Republic is an impressive MMORPG and is still going strong in 2022. There has been many changes and improvements over the years, though some aren't as loved as others. I personally would like to see some graphical overhauls to the game, similar to what WoW did, where they don't change the artistic style of the game, but just make overall improvements to the graphics to keep up with the times. I have no idea if they will do that, and I mean the graphics are still looking great now, but I would love to see some further advancements for the higher higher-end PCs out there. The main story is engaging, and I love getting to the next part in the story, seeing how it all unfolds and how I can destroy the next innocent soul as a Sith warrior who is fully embracing the dark side. The story just sucks you in and you just keep wanting more. If you're in the Star Wars mood and you are looking for an MMORPG to play, why not give Star Wars The Old Republic a try? It is definitely worth it for the story alone. Just keep in mind that this game, for whatever reason, sometimes just doesn't want your money. I have yet to figure out why I cannot buy a subscription or buy anything on the main website for that matter. I get an error when I select something to purchase. I can't even choose what method of payment is on offer. I have written about it on the official forums and no one's been able to help me so far. And if you consider trying to do it through Steam like I ended up being forced to do since I had no other option and no one seemed to be helping me, I had issues where the sub just didn't register onto my account, even though my account is linked to Steam on the main website. I had to contact the main support email address and wait for a few days while providing 3 screenshots of my Steam account and proof of purchase for them to manually add my 60 days of game time. I tried getting some cartel coins after that, also through Steam, and had no issues with that. So I'm guessing that after the support fixed my account, it should be okay now, but I'm not sure. I mean, fingers crossed. But yes, keep in mind that there is a lot of issues with buying anything on the site and on Steam, but the support was really helpful and quick to get back to me and fix my problem. Other than the subscription issues I have been having, I highly suggest you give this game a try if you are in the mood to play a Star Wars MMORPG. The base game and the first 2 expansions are able to be played for free after all, with restrictions, but it should give you a good idea on if you would like to invest more time into the game or not. So there you have it. That's my first impression on Star Wars The Old Republic. Thank you for watching. I'm Sorasyn. Have a fantastic day. Feel free to follow me on all my socials. Links are all in the description and pinned comment below.